Today, I'm going to be talking about everyone's favorite thing, toxoplasmosis. From rats to cats to you. This is a terrible parasite, the Toxoplasma gondii.
This better be it.
No.
No!
It's not what we're talking about today. And today I'm going to talk about lyrical obscurity, how to express yourself obliquely. And what I'm thinking about is particularly writing song lyrics. This is something that I've done for a long time, in a lot of different occasions. And the thing about writing song lyrics is it's kind of a dangerous business for a couple of reasons. One, there's this thing called attribution error. Whenever you are writing a song or singing a song, there's a huge risk that people will assume that what you are writing or singing is actually true. Like, they don't make this mistake so much with actors in movies. You know, someone can play a bad guy in a movie, they don't think it's an evil person. But if you stand on stage with a guitar singing a song that you've written, people will assume that it's actually true. You're telling something that's actually about your life. And maybe the song you've written is something about your life, or maybe not. But it's not always that you don't always want to give the impression that it is anyway. The other thing is that people who are close to you will have enough vanity to assume that it is not only true, but is about them. And this can be very tricky for, someone who is a spouse or a parent or a child or whatever to think that, okay, that's, this dude is complaining in this song about his mother, and I'm that dude's mother. That's terrible. Right? And that may not be what you want to express. So I've come up with an obfuscation strategy, which has a few steps. First of all, you start off by writing something, and you write something that is in a very straightforward way, that just actually is what you want, you write something that is about the topic the thing is about. Then we're going to find a way to sort of cloud that later. We're going to randomize things a bit using a cut-up technique, and then we're going to go from there to define a structure that brings it back into something like a song. We're going to tweak the text to actually make sense, because when you randomize things, some of the text is just not going to fit together. And finally, switch persons, change some things from being I or me to being you, or vice versa. So I'm going to start off by showing you the end result of a piece of text where I've done this process. So here's a bit of a song. We've got a verse and a chorus. The verse is, I'm always trying to get home just like you. You knew right from the start that I had my quirks, but you know I probably need this. Let's hit the pavement. We've got it down to routine now. You're ready to go, smelling that smile. And the chorus is, sometimes you say I need a break from always taking care of you, but somebody's got a friend and somebody is you. Can anybody guess what this song is about?
It's you, right?
It's about you.
I knew it.
So this song initially is something else entirely. The original text is this. I knew the day I brought you home, I'd always be taking care of you. After all, I am a man and you are a man's best friend. We've got it down to routine now. Sometimes I think I need a break, but I probably need this just as much as you do. As soon as I get home, you're ready to go, wagging your tail, holding your leash, let's go for a walk. It's clearly about owning a dog. But I don't think anybody probably guessed. So there were a number of steps that I took to get to this. The first step is just to randomize the lines. There is a Unix command called shuff that does this. It's not always built in everywhere, like Mac OS X doesn't have it, but the Ruby land does it. So, but all this does, it just randomized the lines entirely. And so you see it even took, there was one line break at the end of the file, and it ended up being 2 line breaks in the middle of the file. And I actually ran this command several times until I got something that I thought seemed okay. It's different every time. So I got to this, and then I just took it and said, okay, let's make a structure out of it. So I split that into some lines, said, okay, I want this first part to be the verse of this, and the second part is the chorus. Right now, this doesn't make much sense. As soon as I get home, just as much as you do, I knew the day I brought you home, holding your leash. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So the next step was to try and modify things to make sense a bit more. And so I ended up with this. I've highlighted in yellow the things that I actually changed. And some bits I changed entire lines, and some things I kept it more or less as it was. One of the biggest changes, or two of the biggest changes, were actually I also went away from dog terminology like holding a leash and wagging a tail to something that's a bit more human. So holding your leash became you had your quirks, wagging your tail became smiling that smile. I guess I could have made that a separate step here, but I didn't. So anyway, now by this time it starts to make some sense as a piece of text. I'm always trying to get home just like you. I knew it right from the start. You had your quirks, etc. And the only step I did after this was then to switch person a bit. So I took some of the things that were I, turned into you, things that were you, turned into I, a bit randomly. It makes it so that the story becomes a bit harder, even more difficult to decipher what the heck this thing is about. And so then, so the thing on the right here is what I showed you in the beginning is the final piece of text. And just for comparison, here's the original. And that's all I have. Any questions about this? Anybody?
But do you have a dog?
No.
Can you?
I have had dogs in the
Can you
past.
sing this?
No, I haven't. That's a different lightning talk.
No, we say that for happy hours.
Well, I have a question. Do artists usually create lyrics first, or
I think it depends. I've gone both ways, having lyrics first or music first.
But what if the lyrics don't fit the music? Like if the sentence is too long, or do they still tweak it?
Tweak it. Either tweak the music or tweak the lyrics. Cut and paste. Yeah, so obviously there's more. It's like if I was going to turn this into an actual song, I would probably end up changing it more along the process. It's always like a continually changing thing, really. It's all iterative.
And if you want to do it the old-fashioned way, then you count the, what do you call it in English? The syllables that are active, whatever. Mm-hmm. I knew the day I brought you home. Always be taking care of you. Like finding the... To find the rhythm that actually fits in. Right, sort of. And then you put in another syllable. Or remove one. Yep. Yeah, so there's always more that can be done. This is sort of a way to go from something that is very explicit into something that is a bit more hard to decipher. So you still end up having with a piece of text that is an original artistic work, but is not really sort of quite as on the nose as you had to begin with.